Electric cars are used widely around the world as a source of clean transportation, as an alternative to gasoline powered vehicles. However, their actual environmental implications are a concern for global health.
The first perspective is from the view of people who are indifferent about the long and short term effects of buying and owning an electric car. In the short term, they tend to be more expensive than your everyday gas fuel car, and it can take around 6 to 18 months for an electric car to be considered worth it. This is because in the long run, there are lower maintenance costs than your gas fueled cars, and the cost of increased electricity is a lot less than gasoline. But there are also a lot of issues in the long run that include the fact that most electricity is from coal power plants and where the minerals are sourced for the more intricate electric engines. The coal power plants cause a lot of global warming issues, and their emissions are quite toxic to anyone who is near the plant. The sourcing of materials with electric car engines have been known to be from countries with a lot of humanitarian issues like slave labor and child labor. When buying an electric car, these are all things that have to be taken in consideration before deciding to buy one.
The second perspective on electric vehicles is the perspective from the people who fully support them. Overall, the transportation sector accounts for approximately 30% of total US energy needs and 70% of US petroleum consumption. Using more energy efficient vehicles like hybrid and electric vehicles supports the US economy and helps diversify the US transportation fleet. There's kind of a multitude of reasons why people would choose to use it. You have Elon Musk, who's very big in innovation and technology. There is companies like SpaceX and Tesla. Obviously, electric vehicles mean a lot to him because it's a big portion of his wealth through his company, Tesla. You have other people, which is your more standard consumers, people who are looking for tax breaks, saving on gas prices, and reducing expenses. Then you have the biggest topic, which is your environmental issues. And as you can see in the graph, it breaks down the life cycle of greenhouse gas emissions for electric vehicles versus gasoline cars. As you can see, the electric vehicles produce a lot less greenhouse gas emissions, and they stick around a little bit less time than your standard gasoline petroleum vehicles. This is obviously super important because there's implications around the world for what we do here in the United States or what you do in a different country. Somebody on the other side of the world is still going to feel that impact because pollution and carbon emissions affect everybody. Overall, I mean, there's a variety of different reasons why anybody would want an electric vehicle, whether it's just the innovation and testing the boundaries of what our technology can do, such as Elon Musk and what he does with Tesla. If you want to gain wealth, you can save a lot of money by doing it, which can also help with a budget if you're a budget-friendly family looking to save money, or if you're just trying to help better the earth and create a smaller carbon footprint, and you just want to be a little bit more environmentally friendly and try to create a better world for our future generations. In the chart here, it talks about what people are more likely to get electric vehicles after hearing about them versus if they've never heard about them or if they've never planned to get one.
The third perspective that I'm going to be discussing is the anti-electric car perspective. So regardless of environmental concerns or opinions, many people just don't feel comfortable switching to an electric car. We've been using gasoline powered vehicles for so long now that that's what people feel comfortable with. And it can also be very expensive to transition to an electric car. Getting a new car in general is expensive, especially an electric one, which tend to be more expensive than gasoline powered vehicles. It also can be very inconvenient because there aren't enough charging points, not nearly as many charging points as there are gas stations. So that can be inconvenient, and many people need to purchase one for their home, which can be very expensive. And electric cars don't tend to get as many miles in between charges as regular cars do. So there are electric vehicles that can go up to 300 miles in between charging points, but many only reach about 100 miles. So not only do you need to charge your car more often, but there aren't as many charging points as there are gas stations. So the transition can just be uncomfortable for some people or too costly.
Electric cars also have some ethical concerns regarding their production and energy usage. The batteries that are produced for these electric cars are made using child labor and can cause mass habitat destruction, pollution, and water consumption. The electricity that is used to power electric cars is also produced mainly by fossil fuels, which is very damaging to our environment. Companies claim that they have discovered a clean alternative to these gasoline-powered cars. However, the electric grid is still about 30 years away from optimizing electric car usage.